Investor Connect podcast program. This is Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of the show, in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, private equity, family offices, and many other investor groups for startups and growth companies. I hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you for joining us. Well, hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Today we're here with Leslie Goldman of the Artemis Fund. Leslie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about your background before investing in early stage companies?
Yeah, sure. I was a lawyer for many years, for about 25 years, and I practiced corporate law. So I saw the ins and outs of many deals. I was practicing as the deal lawyer for several startups. I formed companies. I was their acting general counsel before they could hire general counsel. So I worked in large law firms for the first 7-8 years of my career, and then I went in-house. And I was with Waste Management for 6 years, and then for 10 years as general counsel of a company called Fisher Healthcare, which is part of Thermo Fisher Scientific. So I've always been a deal lawyer and always been fascinated by mergers and acquisitions. After practicing, I decided to go into recruiting, and I recruited executives for the general counsel position and for board positions at companies. And there I saw a marked lack of diversity at the highest levels of all companies of all sizes. I started to get into angel investing because I was, looking for alternative investments for my own portfolio. And I started angel investing while I was a general counsel and carried the angel investing through my period as an executive recruiter. And as I got more and more involved in angel investing and saw more and more lack of diversity at the private equity level and the public company level and around the table with other angel investors and at pitch competitions and demo days, I started honing in on my particular passion for female founders. So that's my background. We launched the Artemis Fund, where I'm now the co-founder and principal, and we focus exclusively on female founders. We launched in April, and happy to say it's going strong. And we are closing on our first round and closing on our first investment at the same time we close on our first round of funding.
So your fund invests in women-led startups. What's your advice for investors who want to invest in women-led companies?
Well, my advice is that, first of all, female founders have a much harder road to climb. And the reason is because there are fewer and there are so many more male VCs that it's not terribly comfortable for most women to get up and stare into an audience of only men. And that is often the case during a pitch competition or a demo day. You have to be very, very confident to get up there and be one of probably 20 companies, be the only female founder most of the time, and be pitching to a group of men and understand that there is unconscious bias. I mean, that there's men and women are different, right? And ordinarily, women are pitching, well, they can be pitching different products, some of which would speak to a male audience and some of which would absolutely not speak to a male audience. But the actual facts are that more women hold the purse strings in the household anyway. They control 80% of the purchasing decisions in the household. So because it's a harder road for female founders, it is sometimes harder to find them, especially for men. They will gravitate to people like us because we are welcoming them. We're asking for them. And so we are getting applications in droves from female founders. Whereas our male counterparts sometimes say we cannot find, actually most of them say we cannot find female founded companies. Please help us. And again, that's because they want to make sure they're welcomed, they're being taken seriously, they feel comfortable. You have to be intentional about sourcing female founders. So to the extent that that's what you want to find, you've got to be intentional. You've got to collaborate with people like us. You've got to understand that you have to look for women and say, I'm really looking for female founders, or I understand your problem. I understand the problem you're addressing with your company. I really want to be part of your journey.
Well, that's great. So, the state of investing in women led businesses, it seems like that's evolving very rapidly right now. We hear a lot about it and we see a lot of movement in the industry. But what is your take on the industry today? How far have we come with investing in women led businesses?
I think we are getting there inch by inch. I think you see more and more unicorns like the 23andMe's and the Stitch Fixes. And I mean, there seems to be an additional female-led unicorn company every week. And I think until you have a critical mass of female VCs looking for them, you won't get to the same kind of steady stream as you do with male-led companies. Male-only led companies, I should say. But people are realizing that they have to have a gender lens and they have to involve women more on the investor side in order to have the diversity of thought to be able to pick out these great companies that are led by women. So there are, at this point, I think, probably 50 female-led VC companies, which is tiny. Only 2% of the funds last year of the $130 billion that went to founders. Generally, 2% of that went to female founders. We know there's an issue, and 9% of VCs are women. So when that number starts changing and it's inching up so slowly, I think too slowly, then we'll start seeing a real difference.
So in this venture world, what do you think is the biggest impact on returns, and how does the gender lens help you find better returns?
Yeah, the gender lens is important because the statistics show that companies that have female in the management teams and female founders do better. They have greater returns. And the statistics on diversity in the boardroom are playing that out too, and diversity in the management team. Diversity of thought is critical to innovation. I mean, I don't think there's an argument to that. If you're in an escape room, I don't know if you know Escape the Room, and you're with people who look and think exactly like you are not going to get out of that room. You're just not. I've done enough escape rooms with my kids to know they get out because there's usually a bunch of different age groups of people and genders, and we always get out. But I've heard stories about 10 white male doctors who couldn't get out of the escape room. So anyway, so it's the returns are the science, the data is there, and we're getting more and more data that shows that diversity proves itself out.
Great. So let's talk about the fund in specific. What is your investment thesis for the fund? Beyond that, it has to be a women-led business. What specifically are the requirements that you look for?
So first, obviously, we want a female founder and a female on the management team. That's what we lead with. But secondly, we want it has to be an amazing team, but we want it to be tech enabled. We want it to be scalable, post product launch, or have a clear market fit and a large addressable market. The market fit is really, it has to be tested in a way that either there are revenue or there are customers signed up for it that are passionate about it there, so that it's not just in the concept phase. It has to be proven in the market.
And are there any startups that you know of that fit that thesis that would be a good model to look at?
Yes, absolutely. Our first investment, for example, is a company called UNEST. What they do is they democratize the college savings process they've created a very, very easy to use, affordable 529 app-based savings. So there's an app, it's like Acorns, where you can auto invest every month. Usually setting up a college savings plan is only for wealthy people who can afford a financial advisor who can put them into a plan. There are more and more companies coming up with a way to automate this process, but this is the first company that actually has an app, a do-it-yourself app. So it really brings it to the people most people in America who are between the 25,000 and 125,000 in earnings every year. So I love this product. It's already got serious traction. It's got partnership with very established financial institution and others looking at it as well. And the founder is one of a kind. And she's got a team around her that is seasoned, that have other startups in their successful startups in their history, in fact, unicorn companies, and she's managed to attract a tech team that has done not this exact app, but has done this sort of fintech product with other companies. And so it's a great example of the type of company we're looking at. There's another company that we're looking at that uses methane gas to create biodegradable clothing and packaging products, which again has a clear bottom line. They've already got their customers or their investors. They've already got contracts with the largest customers, Adidas and Patagonia, et cetera. Several name brands that you would know. And so the product market fit is there. The pilot is done. The customers are passionate about it. They're already willing to sign up and invest in both of these companies. So those are two great examples. And the founders are amazing. Stanford PhDs in that case. And in UNES's case, it's UCLA, MBA. So I think that gives you two good examples.
Well, those are good ones for sure. It looks like there's a wide range of applications that women-led businesses are going into. If you had to pick a couple of sectors or applications that you think are really good opportunities out there to pursue, what would you choose out there today?
Well, fintech is certainly a focus, and it's a hot area right now. And if it solves problems for people who don't otherwise have access to certain tools, if it teaches financial literacy, if it helps with financial literacy, then it definitely has the type of impact that we're looking for. So that's one area. And then clean tech and environmental and infrastructure, like cities, helping cities to become smarter and more user-friendly. There's a company that I've invested in that brings environmentally friendly modular housing to dense populations, and it's very affordable. There's another company, for example, that I'm individually invested in, that solves the disposal of nuclear waste problem that we have in a safe way. So our specific verticals for the Artemis Fund we've laid out are the fintech, environmental and infrastructure, which is mostly clean tech and city infrastructure, and then consumer tech and life tech, everywhere from baby tech to silver tech.
Great. There's a lot of good opportunity out there. In the last few minutes that we have, what else should we cover that we haven't?
Well, I think I do want to mention that you asked about whether there's traction, and I don't want to dismiss the traction, the things that are going on now, because I think everything from BlackRock and State Street's mandate to having somebody on a board, to California's law to having a woman on the board, to California's law to having women on public company boards, will have an impact that trickles down throughout the private sector. And we're sort of working from the bottom up to try and encourage women and to encourage diversity. And I think that the more that we, the female funds and the funds focusing on diversity, can talk about this issue and talk about why it's important, not just to the community or to women or to the individuals, but it's important for the bottom line. It's important for the world at large. The more we can talk about it, the more impact we'll have. So we have, and our limited partners are passionate about what we're doing and share our mission and vision. And I'm hoping more and more people will. I think that as the millennials gain more purchasing power, they care about these issues. They care about the environment. They care about social impact. And I think you'll see things changing.
Well, it seems like things are certainly going in the right direction, albeit slowly. It is headed in the right direction. So we look forward to seeing how it progresses. So how best for listeners to get back in touch with you?
I think our website, which is www.theartemisfund.com, or my LinkedIn, Leslie Goldman. They can certainly contact me through LinkedIn.
Well, great. We'll put those in the show notes and hope to have you back for a follow-up soon.
Great. Thank you so much.
Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org. Paul T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early-stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.